Effective marketing strategies for discrete consumers. A focus on outliers. Welcome to MarComTech-niques podcast, a podcast about marketing communications and technology. We help shape future conversations by exploring ideas that shape mindset, management styles, business journeys that influence industries through thought leadership. I'm your host, Jacqueline Carmona. I talked about how frugal my parents are in the episode Managing Crisis, Housekeeping Towards Your Branding. I will have the link in the show notes for the old episode. This episode is inspired by the many frugal people in my life, which marketing communication professionals forget. As a result of their frugal lifestyle, they forget they are upper middle class. They literally downplay themselves, and I think it's because they rather have savings than impress people. So everything becomes too expensive, even though it's affordable. Although my parents could afford private schools, I was a bit worn out of all the religious stuff. Half of it didn't make sense to me at the time. My first real religious question was at 7, and I wasn't getting any real answers. But that's for another type of podcast. There was a doctor who lived across the street who did the same thing. She lived under her means, which made both of them outliers in the neighborhood. The doctor would send money back to her family, if I remember. My mother would have more info on that, but there are people who rather save than spend money. Appearances can be deceiving. Not everyone wants to buy the house that shows their status. Some buy Louis Vuitton bags with Louis Vuitton wallets that have $4 in it, with a luxury car note that consumes their last percentage of income. Then you have people who contradict this type of frugal mindset. Instead of polo shirts and khaki pants, some people wear suits every day to bring up their dry cleaning costs they can't afford in the first place. Walking around with wad of cash to look like they have money when it's actually their mortgage payment. Bouncing mortgage payment checks every other month, draining everyone's time and finances around them. Think about your staff wasting time with the wrong prospect. This is why it's super important to really dive into the habits of your prospects. The man who I married grew up across subsidized apartments. His mother lived with her cousin for free in a house he paid off. The house was in serious disrepairs but paid, while she provided private school for him as a maid at a hotel. He developed this need to overcompensate for appearances of wealth to fit in his private school settings. Unfortunately, he carried this behavior well into adulthood. And despite reaching middle-class status married to me, he never managed to shake off his poverty mindset. Always in debt despite his income because of appearances, the need for outer validation. And when you're not honest about who you really are, you end up spending more money to create a narrative that doesn't exist, instead of placing all of your resources into creating the life you really want. In the beginning of this episode, I mentioned an old episode, Managing Crisis, Housekeeping Toward Your Branding. I talked about my mother taking me to her hometown, where I was inspired to see my family as entrepreneurs. From Porsche dealerships to other businesses, to seeing my great-grandfather's defunct farm that my maternal grandfather inherited. My great-grandfather's hard work trickled down into an entrepreneur spirit, so I was always ready to dive into starting a business. Years ago, a businessman told my husband at the time to start a business for free, meaning he would give him the inventory from his factory so he could sell it as a small business. I thought this was great. No overhead costs for storage, no need to immediately hire employees. He handled the sales and I handle the rest. He likes to wear suits and be in the public eye a lot. Perfect. Then do sales and I have the business acumen for the rest. That never happened, and excuses were made. This is when he started to over-exaggerate his schedule and meetings and distance himself publicly from his family, among other things. He became aggressive, distant, created new narratives, all because I am me. I like to push everyone to be better. I never hid my ambition. It was always there. You could see it in how I talk, what I learn, and how I like to prioritize things. You could see it in my children. I made sure to cultivate that business mindset in them. I want everyone around me to be successful, but not everyone is honest with themselves or who they really are. So just going off my personal experience dealing with people made me look at marketing data differently. Here is that word again, mindset. You can literally make great income, but be as poor as a minimum wage worker. You have the data in front of you. It is a tricky data set because although as accurate as the numbers may be on paper, mindset and money is everything, and marketers are not psychic. But creating surveys that can dive into the spending habits of the consumer can help determine the spectrum of the actual income, more so the actual budget, and not what the consumer tells you. This means you don't just want to concentrate on the actual income of the consumer, but dive into their mindset and spending habits. This is how you qualify your sales lead. What do they prioritize? What are their habits, hobbies? Are they family oriented? If they don't have families, what other indicators can you use? But these are buyers who will actually buy from you because they have the funds. Due to their desire to avoid debt, they always pay upfront and in full. The ultimate contradiction, scarcity and abundance mindset, all in one package that is called middle class. You save and save, but inflation catches up to them. The poor spend money and the middle class saves, and the rich invest. But today we're going to talk about the outliers, marketing to people who don't fit the usual marketing strategy. A nuanced approach is needed by those who live within their means or under their means. These consumers prioritize value, practicality, and long-term benefits over flashy or trendy products. Focus on messaging on cost effectiveness, durability, and essential features. What is great about this is this can be applied at any price point because some of these types of consumers never stop saving once they hit a tax bracket because of great habits they have developed. So I broke it down into 5 major categories. Here's the first one. Emphasize value and practicality. So discrete consumers gravitate towards products with genuine value. They usually respond well to practicality and long-term benefits. Look for ways to help them save money long-term, such as energy efficiency and durability. They usually research the quality and durability of the product so they don't have to buy it again for a long time. Since we discuss cars, let's use it as an example. Highlight highway versus street mileage and the consumer habits in driving. For instance, low maintenance costs. Sometimes there's less maintenance costs with highway miles due to the less braking with fewer light stops. Consider the make and model trend. Some car manufacturers do not change the design of the make and model drastically like others, making the car maintain a classic appearance that is not out of trend, meaning the car body doesn't drastically change every 4 years. So how do we emphasize value and practicality? Well, there are 3 ways to ensure these 3 touch points. First, they are the classics. Items that don't change dramatically in appearance and provide a classic appearance. 2, reliability refers to the consistency of a product's performance over time. And number 3, durability refers to its ability to withstand wear and tear. So what does this mean? It means the buy it and forget it type of model. Now that we discussed value and practicality, next is number 2. Use straightforward and honest messaging. Honesty and transparency are crucial when marketing to discrete consumers. And don't be surprised, discrete buyers can range in higher income level as well. Think about a condo with no required maintenance, great amenities, a great community, great schools, without paying the higher price of larger homes nearby. They appreciate straightforward communication about a product's benefit and features without exaggeration. Avoid overly flashy or aggressive marketing tactics. Focus instead on clear, concise, and honest messaging. Community and amenities play a significant role in appealing to discrete consumers. They value neighborhoods that offer a sense of belonging and convenience, such as parks, community centers, and local shops. Highlighting these aspects can enhance the perceived value of a property, making it more attractive to those who prioritize a balanced lifestyle. And number 3, focus on essential features. Highlight essential features first. Highlight the core functionalities of your products and how they can improve the consumer's daily life. This approach aligns with their preference for simplicity and practicality. Everything else should be an added bonus. To identify essential features, start by conducting customer surveys and interviews to understand what they consider crucial in a product. Analyze customer feedback and usage data to pinpoint which features are most frequently used and appreciated. Additionally, observe market trends and competitor offerings to ensure your product aligns with current consumer demands while maintaining simplicity. This can be tricky because sometimes what you have to sell does not neatly fall into what the customer wants or desires. The market has variations of the same product. So do not force a product. You do not want buyer's remorse. This can set back all of your branding hard work. This is true for real estate, tech, financial products, and other industries. Number 4, build trust through consistency. Building trust with discrete consumers requires consistency in your marketing messaging. Consumers are more likely to stick with brands that deliver on their promises, reflect quality, value, and customer satisfaction in your marketing communications. These strategies will engage discrete consumers who prioritize financial prudence and practicality. And last but not least, number 5, influence versus manipulation. Influence is the ability to affect someone's behavior or decision positively, while manipulation involves controlling or deceiving someone for personal gain. By focusing on influence rather than manipulation, brands can build genuine relationships with their customers. When consumers feel positively influenced by a brand's value and messaging, they are more likely to develop a sense of loyalty and trust. This loyalty can lead to repeat purchasing and long-term customer retention, as customers appreciate the authenticity and integrity of a brand's approach. So let's go over the main 5 strategies in capturing these type of consumers. Emphasize value and practicality. Number 2, use straightforward and honest messaging. Number 3, focus on essential features. Number 4, build trust through consistency. Number 5, influence versus manipulation. So make sure to approach your data through the lens of mindset of the consumer and not just the numbers that are in front of you. We get too caught up in the median numbers and not look at the outliers or the mindset that are missed in the data. In this episode, I talked about my family's history, finance, PR, marketing, tech, and real estate. I mentioned the influence my family, who were entrepreneurs in dealership, retail, and other businesses, had on me. I want to talk about the misconception of emotional intelligence. People equate looking perfect with emotional intelligence. This is why people need to leave psychology alone and concentrate on finding your own mindset community. This is why psychologists are constantly changing names of terms due to overreach in using these terms. Emotional intelligence is not about looking perfect. Self-management means being aware of exactly what you're doing, which means social awareness. If I worry about everyone, then how can I really be myself? Find your niche in your industry, your community, who you can be yourself with. Because you will have these consultants who lack emotional intelligence guide you in a pseudoscience with certificates that mean nothing when it comes to target marketing. So be yourself, find your community, find your niche, and have fun being yourself. Remember, you are the boss. You create your own rules, which is a distinction from laws, of course. But you create your organizational culture with your personal brand leading the way. Just be you. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.